This is Pegasus launch control. T-minus 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 20 seconds from Cape Canaveral in Florida. We are standing by for the pending departure of the L-1011 aircraft with the Pegasus rocket carrying CYGNSS. The launch countdown began at 3:14 a.m. this morning in the National Mission Directors Center, approximately 5 hours prior to the opening of the launch window. Going through the pre-takeoff checklist for the L-1011, the Pegasus rocket and the CYGNSS spacecraft takes about 3.5 hours to complete. The L-1011 is now scheduled to depart until 7:33, with a drop from the Pegasus from the L-1011 now targeted to occur at 8:30 Eastern Time. The planned launch window is 1 hour in duration. The time from L-1011 wheels up to the drop of the Pegasus rocket is 57 minutes. The main change that we've had since that adjustment in our launch window and the departure time for the L-1011 is the onset of fog, as we can see. And the launch weather officer has been briefing the launch team, and the determination is that most likely we will delay the departure of the L-1011 until the visibility improves. Visibility is expected to improve by 1 hour into the launch window, which is the time that we have available to launch. So that is under discussion right now. I think the discussion is that if we delay on the departure time, that we probably would be able to still achieve a launch today because visibility should improve within the first hour. Meantime, at the runway, the L-1011 has started the engines of the aircraft. There is still a remaining engine to complete engine start. So at this point, we're going to listen to the discussion and see what the anticipated departure time would be and whether there's any further adjustment in our launch time. Right now, the target is an 8:30 drop with a L-1011 departure at 7:33. Visibility at the so-called kid strip at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station runway is right now 1/4 mile. At T-minus 1 hour, 25 minutes, 29 seconds and counting, this is Pegasus Launch Control. This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 23 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. The constraint under discussion is if the airplane should have to turn around and come back with the Pegasus attached to it, then the minimum visibility would be 1 mile. So the discussion with the launch weather officer, Mike Rabine, has been whether or not if we were to depart within an hour of our targeted departure time, would we have that visibility if the airplane had to turn around and come back with the rocket attached? So at this time, right now, we're awaiting an update on when we think the airplane would depart based on visibility, but we're not working any technical issues. Spacecraft is go, Pegasus rockets go, L-1011 reporting no issues. And we're now at T-minus 1 hour, 21 minutes, 58 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control. This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 19 minutes, 7 seconds and counting. The visibility was expected to begin improving upon sunrise, which we've just had, so we'll see how it improves over the next hour or so. And as we said, the primary concern is not so much the takeoff visibility, which is really at the discretion of the pilot, but the return to base in case the L-1011 had to come back with the Pegasus attached, and in that event a minimum of 1 mile visibility would be required. But our launch weather officer indicates that we should have that minimum within an hour after the targeted T0. So at this point, we're cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to meet that requirement. Tower reports 1/2 mile visibility currently at the runway. And in certain directions, control tower reports even better visibility than that. So the fog is situation beginning to improve. We'll take a look now at some video of what we hope you will see later on this morning.
Drop of my mark. 3, 2, 1, drop. Health safety, expect away. You have stage 20 mission.
That launch occurring from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California on June 27th, 2013. They're preparing now to start another engine on the Orbital 11. And we're awaiting now an adjusted takeoff time. That's under discussion now with the pilot. This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 22 minutes, 50 seconds and counting. Based on the weather forecast, the new targeted drop time is 8:40 a.m. and the departure will be exactly 1 hour prior to that at 7:40. That allows a little additional time for the pilot of the L-1011 to navigate around some precipitation en route to the drop box. But this still keeps us within our launch window. So right now, with some engines having been started on the L-1011, chase plane has an engine going. The departure is now slightly more than 20 minutes away at 7:40 with a T0 drop time of 8:40 a.m. Eastern Time. Still, other than the fog, no problems reported in work by the launch team on the L-1011, the Pegasus, or the Cygnus spacecraft. And with the sun coming up, the fog situation is beginning to improve. And go has just been given to start engine number 3 on the L-1011, so we are pressing forward. Launch Weather Officer is reporting that visibility limitation constraint is being removed as visibility continues to improve with the sunrise having occurred. So the only thing that now they'll be discussing is the flight path out to the drop point with some precipitation in line there at about 29,000 feet, which at the time of the drop they would be 10,000 feet above that. At T-minus 1 hour, 19 minutes, 52 seconds and counting, this is Pegasus Launch Control. This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 18 minutes, 41 seconds and counting. We're going through the L-1011 carrier aircraft pole at this time. Engines continue to be started. The airplane will be taking off on runway 13 at the skid strip. There's a possibility that the drop time could be adjusted a bit further as they continue to assess the flight time out to the drop box to deviate around some precipitation. That would add a little bit more to the 1 hour flight that they currently are envisioning. Wheels up time now for the L1011 is 7:37 a.m. And the aircraft is through the pre-taxi checklist. All of the activities now are transitioning from the ground operations net over to the countdown net. And at this time, we should be able to begin to hear some of the countdown activities going along, as well as the return communications from the pilot on board the L1011.
See countdown 1, step 116, Duotron, report status, link 69, Duotron recorder.
LC Peg TM, Duotron recording, ready for taxi.
Okay, I copy that, Peg TM. And Peg, LC countdown report ready for taxi.
LC Peg, ready for taxi.
Copy that, Peg.
Again, the targeted departure time is 7:37 with a drop time of 8:40. This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 10 minutes, and counting. The Orbital ATK L1011 is now at the end of runway 13, preparing for departure. Our next activity is the chase plane will taxi out and prepare for its departure. Launch today being controlled from the NASA Mission Directors Center at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. The members of the Orbital ATK Pegasus XL team are monitoring the health of their particular launch vehicle system, and the Southwest Research Institute and the University of Michigan team are looking at systems on the Cygnus spacecraft. And recall that the chase plane doesn't have the visibility to take off ahead of the L1011. They're going to wait for about 4 minutes after departure of the L1011 before the chase plane departs, because they are not able to meet the visibility minimums for the chase plane departure. This is a live picture of our NASA launch director, Tim Dunn, monitoring the countdown from NASA's Mission Director Center. This is the launch vehicle data center where Orbital ATK is monitoring the air activities prior to the takeoff. This is Launch Vehicle Data Center number 2, where NASA Engineering is monitoring all the data coming back from the Pegasus rocket.
Readiness for takeoff. Rock.
Go.
Rock is go. Peg.
Peg is go.
Peg is go. Orbital.
Orbital is go.
Orbital is go. NLM.
NLM is go for takeoff.
NLM is go for takeoff. Launch team is go for takeoff.
Our L1011 pilot this morning is Orbital ATK's Don Walter. He's flying the plane. The co-pilot is Bob Gordon, he will actually be the person who pushes the button to drop the rocket from the L-1011 at the targeted T0 time. And also aboard is our flight engineer, Bob Taylor. Behind the pilot and co-pilot and flight engineer is the launch panel, and our launch panel operator today is Orbital's Jim Stowers, and he is supported by the payload launch panel operator, who is Fred First. And we should be departing in about 1 minute.
LO on countdown. LO on countdown.
And standing by next for the departure of the chase plane. Waiting now for departure of the chase plane. He's assuring that he's got visibility minimums for takeoff. This is the racetrack pattern that the plane will be flying as it heads out toward the drop point. And you can see the L-1011's position, the green dot toward the lower left corner of your screen along the paralleling the racetrack is where the L-1011 currently is.
Go, Elbow.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to get you an update on the activity that is now in the flight path area. We're measuring cells that are in between P-turn and PIP. It's currently got precipitation top to 36,000 feet, and the cloud top is at 40,000 feet, so they will not be flying through precipitation, but they will be flying through cloud at that point.
Okay, I will copy that, and I appreciate the update.
You're welcome, sir.
And the chase plane flying along with the L-1011 is an FA-18 from NASA's Armstrong Flight Research Center in California. It's being flown by pilot Troy Asher, and flying in the seat behind him is Lori Losi, who is providing the live video to NASA TV and has provided the chase plane video for previous Pegasus missions. So this will include video while the L-1011 is in its planned pre-launch pattern and then capturing the deployment and the initial minutes of the Pegasus flight. The Orbital ATK and NASA engineering team will also take advantage of the plane to conduct a video survey of the plane to assure that all looks well for the deployment of the Pegasus at T0. First live video from the chase plane.
And MIFCO LC countdown.
MIFCO.
Yeah, you're go for step 129. Radio checks with standby. And MIFCO LC countdown. You go for step 129. Com check with the L-1011 on Victor 1.
Roger.
And RCO LC countdown.
RCO.
Yeah, you go for step 130. Radio checks with the L-1011 on Victor 1.
RCO copy. Copy all.
And Rock, I copy that. Stand by. RCO, this is LC. Can I get step 132, verify C-band transponder operation continuing nominal?
Yeah, C-band transponder is continuing nominally at this time.
Okay, roger that, RCO. We'll check 132. And Rock, stand by. We'll reestablish air to ground here in just a second. They might be doing some work with ATC up there.
Copy.
This is Pegasus Launch Control at T-minus 53 minutes, 27 seconds and counting. We're being joined now here in the Mission Director Center as we head out toward the drop box with Dr. Chris Ruff, Principal Investigator for Cygnus from the University of Michigan. And Dr. Ruff, we're pleased that you can come join us during the countdown today, and maybe as we've kind of prepared to watch the launch, you could tell us a little bit about what's going to happen after the spacecraft separates and what that deployment is like and what happens maybe for the rest of the day.
Sure. So after the drop from the plane, it takes about 13 minutes to get up on orbit, and then we start the deployment sequence. The satellites will be deployed in pairs. There's 8 satellites, so it takes 4 deployment maneuvers spread about 30 seconds apart. So by 15 minutes after we drop from the plane, all 8 satellites will be dispersing away from the launch vehicle and entering into their eventual orbits. This video here shows that happening. So this would take place about 13 minutes after drop from the plane. The first 2 go out, and the attitude system starts to maneuver them. Solar panels open up about a few minutes after the deployment, so this is sped up a little just to see what happens. And then they point to the sun first to start charging up the batteries, and then a little while after that, they'll start pointing towards the Earth to do science. So later in the day today, we expect to start making contact with the satellites, 1 or 2 at a time, depending on how things go. And by the end of the day, later this afternoon, we expect and hope to have spoken with each of the 8 of them at least once.
And how long will it be before the satellites are checked out and you're getting your first science that you've been looking for?
Yeah, the first science data will happen hopefully mid to late next week, and that's just an engineering functional test of the science instruments to make sure they're working properly. Then we'll continue checking out everything else over the first month, and then early in the second month we expect to switch over to regular full-time science mode.
And when do you think the spacecraft will actually be providing data that our forecasters, hurricane forecasters, might find useful?
Well, we're going to go through a careful calibration period once we're in science mode, and that will go on for a couple of months. And we're expecting in early April 2017 to be releasing the first fully calibrated science data to NASA, to the National Weather Service, and to the general public.
Well, Dr. Ruff, thank you very much, and we look forward to the first data, I think, as much as you will and all the hurricane forecasters will.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Best of luck. Mm-hmm. And we're now at 50 minutes, 30 seconds before the launch of Cygnus. This is Pegasus Launch Control. This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 48 minutes, 12 seconds and counting. The L-1011 with the Pegasus on the way out now to the drop box. All things going according to our plan for drop at 8:40. And we're being joined now by Alicia Mendoza-Hill. She is the Launch Services Program Mission Manager for the Cygnus mission. And she is joining us now to show us some of the preparations that went on to get the Pegasus rocket and the Cygnus spacecraft ready for its launch today. So, Ali, welcome. And we're going to roll this tape, and maybe you could explain as we go along what it is that we're seeing.
Hi. So here is part of the rocket arriving at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. So this is the first stage of the rocket. You see them installing the aft skirt at the back. You know, that nozzle does not move, so we have this fin actuator system at the back of the rocket. And we also have a wing on top of the Pegasus. And both of these systems, both the wing and the fin actuating system, apply, you know, that's what helps the rocket lift and have controllability. Here you also now see the spacecrafts being unpackaged at Vandenberg. They were shipped separately, each in each of those gray containers that you see in the background. So once they arrived at Vandenberg, they arrived on September 28th, and they start doing checkouts, make sure they weren't damaged on shipment. So that's a solar array deployment test. Just make sure they all open up nicely. Then they do an illumination check to make sure that electrically they're all good and working. Then we started mating the 8 spacecrafts to the deployment module. They're connected by some quick nuts. It's actually one bolt that holds each of the spacecraft onto the deployment module. So here you see them delicately placing all the spacecrafts. The shiny glass you see on the solar arrays, that's just protective panels to keep them. These are the fairings that arrived at Vandenberg. And here is the stage 1 and 2 mate. So it's a little operation they do and mate the second and first stage. And here is the spacecraft being the full flight segment being mated, and then followed by encapsulation of the fairing. So there you see it all nicely closed up and ready to be moved out of the integration cells. So they move the rocket onto an assembly and integration trailer. That's the white part that you see moving out of the facility at this point. And so it's on its way to the hot pad. So at Vandenberg at the runway. That rocket is about 55 feet long and looks very small when it's under the L-1011 aircraft. So as you see, the L-1011 aircraft has to be jacked up about 15 feet in order to have the rocket be placed under it. Here you see the orbital technicians mating the rocket to the L-1011. It's 4 hooks in the back, and then there's a 5th hook up at the front. And we took off from Vandenberg and ferried out to here to Cape Canaveral in Florida. And those are the pilots. And there we are, landing at Kennedy, at Cape Canaveral in Florida. So that all occurred on December 2nd there, this landing. Beautiful day for landing. And rolling into what we call here another hot pad, where we just park the plane and then check out everything again. Check out the plane, check out the spacecraft and the rocket, make sure everything was good on ferry.
Well, after we have the spacecraft separation, then we've got to keep in touch with the satellites and their status and how they're doing. And we're getting that from where? This is coming from quite a distance away.
Yes, we actually have 2 locations in the French Guiana. Being that this is 8 spacecraft, so it was a mandatory requirement to capture the spacecraft separations. So there's 8 of them, and so they were very downrange that we couldn't capture with our sites here in Florida. So we do have a Wallops deployable antenna that's stationed at the Cayenne Airport, and then we also have support from the CYGNSS station that's called Galileo. So it's the CYGNSS French station that's also helping us out and capturing telemetry from the spacecrafts once they separate.
So that actually will be coming through those tracking stations in South America live at the time of spacecraft separation.
Yes, we are. Yep, we've done our checks with them this morning, and so data is flowing, and they're ready to support us once we separate.
Well, Allie, thank you very much. We're looking now at live video from the chase plane of the Pegasus rocket attached to the L-1011. And what's interesting, I think, is we get some additional close-up photos, is the name Matthew on the fairing. What's the significance of that?
Well, actually, the naming of the fairing is a tradition in LSP that the mission manager gets to select the name. Originally, it was going to be my husband's name for putting up for 3-4 years of all my travel and late nights, but then we had Hurricane Matthew come by, so sorry. we decided, I decided to name the rocket, the fairing, Matthew. We thought it was appropriate. The whole eastern coast of the United States was affected by Matthew at some point, including our mission and the timeliness of the launch date.
It delayed our launch.
It delayed our launch.
Yep.
So, being that Cygnus is out there going to help us better forecast the intensification of hurricanes, what better name than Matthew?
Well, thank you very much. Alicia Mendoza-Hill, our Launch Services Program Mission Manager for the Cygnus flight today. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, George. It's a pleasure.
And we've been looking at live video, a very interesting shot we saw of the chase plane from the L-1011, looking back down at the chase plane that's been looking up at the L-1011. All the activities are on schedule for our 8:40 drop. At T-minus 41 minutes, 38 seconds and counting, this is Pegasus Launch Control.
And Launch Team LC on countdown with the status. We completed all steps through step 137 of the climb cruise checklist. That checklist is now complete. And be advised that we'll be getting waypoint call-outs, a beam of what the actual lat longs that were planned. We're allowing the L-1011 to do real-time diversion to avoid weather as it climbs up to altitude.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 38 minutes, 50 seconds and counting. So we heard a slight deviation from planned course to pass by some weather. We're listening to our launch conductor, Adam Lewis, who is conducting the countdown this morning and is talking directly with the L-1011 aircraft. And as we continue to follow the chase planes live video coming back from out over the Atlantic Ocean, we'll look at a brief video about the Cygnus mission.
A series of 8 small satellites to be deployed in low Earth orbit will sample wind speeds frequently each day to give forecasters a better impression of hurricanes and how they might form and gain in strength. The satellites, which will all launch at once from a single rocket, make up the mission known as CYGNSS, short for Cyclone Global Navigation Satellite System.
This technology, which is low power, also happens to be the only way that you can see through heavy rain.
The CYGNSS satellites will communicate with the GPS satellites. This way, with 8 satellites taking measurements, the area of Earth that can be measured is increased greatly. Successive satellites passing over the same region every 12 minutes. As the Cygnus and GPS constellations move around the Earth, the interaction of the 2 systems will result in a new image of wind speed over the entire tropics every few hours, compared to every few days for a single satellite. Another advantage, the Cygnus orbit is designed to measure only in the tropics, where hurricanes are most often found. The focus on tropical activity means the Cygnus instruments will be able to gather that much more useful data on weather systems exclusively found in the tropics.
Normally we have to fly an aircraft into a hurricane to get that precise level of hurricane wind speeds.
Cygnus will reach space aboard an unusual rocket. This is Pegasus, and it flies into space after dropping from an airplane, not leaving a launch pad.
So a launch off of Pegasus is very unique. It's the air-launched vehicle. So what that means is that the rocket is actually placed under a plane. The plane flies at about 39,000 feet, and then the rocket is released. 5 seconds later, it ignites and leaves the atmosphere.
Measuring 55 feet long, the Pegasus is built by Orbital ATK. It uses 3 stages that each burn solid propellants to lift its payload into orbit. For Cygnus, the time from drop to ignition and then release of all 8 spacecraft in orbit will take less than 15 minutes. Although controllers keep tabs on the aircraft and rocket throughout the flight and launch, the drop from the aircraft can be the most intense.
Those are very long 5 seconds between the release of the rocket and the ignition of that first stage motor. The rocket guys they're turning on all sorts of stuff, but on console, I'm just holding my breath for 5 seconds until that motor ignites.
Although a Pegasus rocket can be launched virtually anywhere, the Cygnus mission calls for a launch near Florida. That's because the main area the satellites will survey is the tropical region of the Atlantic, where many of the hurricanes that threaten the mainland United States form.
Because of the hurricane corridor, we have to launch from Florida.
The modified L-1011 aircraft, formerly used as an airliner, will take off from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station and head out over the Atlantic Ocean. About 110 miles off the coast of Daytona Beach, Florida, the aircraft carrying Pegasus will begin to fly a racetrack-shaped pattern over the ocean. When all systems check out and the launch director approves the drop, the crew on the aircraft will release the Pegasus to fly into space on its own.
We have a very defined box in space and time that we must drop the vehicle so that when we ignite the first stage of Pegasus, it puts us right in line for our mission orbit.
The Cygnus mission had been slated to launch earlier this year, but when Hurricane Matthew brushed near Kennedy Space Center, the schedule had to be adjusted.
We were originally scheduled to launch Cygnus earlier this year in the November timeframe, but as fate would have it, Hurricane Matthew had other things to say about the Eastern Range launch schedule, pushing us into the December timeframe. So it's probably appropriate for Cygnus that we're launching a little bit later, but because of a hurricane.
Whoa, on countdown.
Go ahead, Hello.
Yes, sir. Just to let you know, we are now no-go for the attached anvil rule. We currently have an anvil that is moving right over the P-launch, and we are expecting an ETRO of approximately 1330 Zulu.
Okay, copy that. The range is currently no-go. Weather is currently no-go due to an attached anvil. And you're expecting at that waypoint P launch, you're expecting that to clear at 1330 Zulu.
That's a good copy.
LC Rock on countdown net.
Go ahead, Rock.
Sir, the Elwood just reported we're no-go for the attached anvil cloud rule. Range status is proceeding with the exception of weather. We have an expected clear time of 1330 Zulu. This is 10 minutes prior to the current T0. Do you have a plan for it as far as this goes?
We're going to go ahead and maintain our current flight path, and we'll reevaluate as we approach 1330. And to clear, we should be approximately in that final turn as we're heading out on waypoint PIP. So we'll look for your call at 1330.
Copy all. Thanks.
And that call from our launch weather officer, Mike Rabine, that we're not going to meet the anvil cloud rule, meaning we cannot fly too close to an anvil cloud. And launch conductor Adam Lewis recognizing that we may clear that constraint within 10 minutes of our launch time. And so we'll continue on the current flight path for the moment. So at this time, still targeting a drop about a half an hour from now.
Elwood, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Would it be possible that to have the pilot check our altitude with that anvil as soon as they go through the PLCH the first time?
Yeah, copy that. Stand by.
Airplane now approaching the point at which we would drop the Pegasus.
Deconfliction procedures are in effect.
Okay, roger that. Thanks, Rock.
The L-1011 is the green dot following the line along the chase racetrack pattern. And the aircraft will proceed through what they call P-launch, which is the drop point. This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 27 minutes, 34 seconds and counting. Once the Pegasus is dropped, ignites, and heads out over the ocean, it will be on a launch azimuth of 110.56 degrees. Once in orbit, the spacecraft will deploy at an inclination of 35 degrees and an altitude of 316 miles. That will give it an orbital period going around the Earth of each of these satellites once every 95 minutes. This is planned as a 2-year mission. Total weight of the spacecraft atop the Pegasus at the drop is 761 pounds. And then each satellite by itself is 61 pounds. The L-1011 has been relaying back to Mission Control and the Launch Weather Officer the actual visual observations of that anvil cloud that is very close to the point where the spacecraft will be deployed. But still forecast to be clear of the area by the time we reach that time at 8:40 Eastern Time. During the launch, the communications with the L-1011 carrier aircraft and the data from the rocket is coming from the Air Force antennas here at Cape Canaveral and also from the Air Force tracking station down in South Florida, just north of Jupiter Inlet. And then, as Ali Mendoza mentioned, the third stage Pegasus data on the spacecraft data will come from the European Space Agency's tracking antenna in Kourou in French Guiana, along with a NASA Wallops portable antenna that will also be near that location. The first contact the rocket and the spacecraft will have with the South American stations at about launch plus 7.5 minutes. And our launch of signal from the Cape here will be at 8.5 minutes. And then slightly after that, 8 3/4 minutes from the Jupiter Inlet station. Well, we'll continue to have data from the station in Kourou in South America through 18 1/4 minutes.
Our Pegasus internal power checklist, and during missed our captive carry out to waypoint P launch. L-1011 has been diverting around some weather on its way as it is tracking the flight track, although it is back on flight track at this time. Our next expected waypoint is waypoint P turn. We're expecting that at approximately Zulu time of 13:20. So in about 3 minutes, we should be getting a waypoint call on that, at which point we'll be about 22 minutes, about 16 minutes from drop.
And that was our launch conductor, Adam Lewis, talking with our launch panel operator aboard the L-1011, Jim Stowers. As we enter the polls toward the end of the countdown, besides our NASA launch director Tim Dunn giving NASA's go for launch, we'll also be hearing from the NASA Cygnus mission director Jim Wells from the Langley Research Center. They're in charge of the mission for the spacecraft.
LC, LO, this is LC, this LO on CDNet.
Stand by, L.
LOLC, stand by on countdown.
Standing by.
FSL LC countdown, step 141 alpha. Verify Cygnus ready to transition to internal power.
LC, FSL, signal is ready for internal power.
Copy that.
LC, FSL, confirm Cygnus on internal power.
I copy FSL. We'll check 141 Charlie. Launch team LC on countdown. At this time, I want a poll for readiness for Pegasus to FTS internal power. OSM?
OSM is go.
OSM is go. MIF go.
MIF go.
MIF go is go. PEG?
PEG is go.
Peg is go. Launch team is go for FTS internal power. Check 145.
LC Peg, FTS on internal power and nominal.
Copy, Peg. Check 147.
That call indicating that the flight termination system, should it be needed, is on internal power.
And launch team LC on countdown. At this time, I want to poll for final FTS arm checks. OSM?
OSM is go.
OSM is go. MIFCO?
MIFCO go.
MIFCO is go. Peg?
Peg is go.
Peg is go. MIFCO LC, send and remove arm command.
Roger, on my mark, sending arm. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Arm sent. Arm removed. CSC send check channel.
LC Peg, FTS arm checks nominal.
CSC send check channel. Check
and
channel
I copy,
sent.
Peg. And MIFCO, I copy. MIFCO, verify FTS arm check
LC,
nominal.
LPO.
Stand by.
Go LPO.
Be advised on step 142, appears our hydraulic pump is not working, and we're going to fail the primary system accumulator plus 100 to 2,000. That's primary and secondary. And that's Alpha 11.
Okay, I copy that. LPO, stand by. Stand by.
LC, MIFCO, countdown net, FTS arm checks nominal.
Copy that. MIFCO will go ahead and check step 151. And LPO, LC, looking for a readback of your primary and secondary systems?
Primary system is 1100 psi. Secondary system is 1100 psi. Primary accumulator is 1200. Secondary accumulator is 1200.
Copy all there, LPO. Stand by. And flight crew LC on Victor 1, be advised that we have actually completed our FTS arm checks are complete at this time. SMD-LC, countdown 1, step 152 alpha, verify Cygnus internal power is nominal, ready for DMAU, power off.
Cygnus nominal and ready for DMAU, power off.
And I copy that, SMD. We'll go ahead and check 152 alpha. Payload LPO, LC, Victor 1.
LC, LPO, go ahead.
152 Bravo, turn off Cygnus DMAU power.
And we'll put that in work.
And PLT, you go to power off anti-collision lights.
LC, PLT in work.
LC, LPO, 152 is complete.
And LPO, I copy that. And LPO, can you check the circuit breakers for the hydraulic pump?
And LC, LPO, we've already cycled those, and we're down manipulating the pump now.
Copy that.
Cygnus confirms DMAU off.
LC, PLT, passing PIP on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
And I copy waypoint PIP. If I can verify launch window is go. I can verify launch window is go. LO, LC, countdown?
Hello.
Yeah, can you give us an updated weather status here?
LC, PLT,
yes,
passing
sir.
L-7, 3,
right now,
2,
the range
1,
is red.
mark.
We're no-go for the attached anvil rule. However, if we're able to take a flight path a little bit farther to the south, approximately 3 miles to the right, we were able to clear you at this time.
Okay, copy that, Elbow.
Cooling's on.
And PLT, I copied your L-7 call on. I copied your L-7 call. And PLT also be advised that LWO is going to be red on weather if we go directly down to waypoint P launch. If you were able to keep about 3 miles south of waypoint P launch but still inside the safety box, then he would give us a green for weather.
LC, PLC, roll call.
And LPO, be advised also that we are red currently for hydraulic system.
LC, PLC, copy.
LPO, copy.
Attention all stations, this is Ian Lim on the NLM net conducting the final launch readiness poll. Be advised we remain red for the attached anvil rule, although we believe that we can avoid that and find a clear spot just into our drop box. And we're also working a hydraulic pump issue that has us red. So with that, standing by.
Abort at this time. We're going to abort at this time. PLT would like you to proceed as if we were going to perform a recycle, and you're advised to avoid weather as required as you head down to waypoint P launch.
Somebody LC, PLC, copy, and we're estimating P launch at 1336.
Copy 1336, about 5 minutes. And launch team, we're going to go ahead and proceed
primarily due to a hydraulic pump anomaly that is being worked. So proceed into the recycle checklist for a second attempt.
In the abort checklist, LPO and payload LPO, that's correct. We're going to the abort checklist.
LPO copies.
So we have word that we're not going to...
9 of the abort checklist, LPO and payload LPO are in work on step 208 and 28 alpha. PLT is continuing towards waypoint P launch. 846 LC on uniform. Be advised we are aborting our initial launch attempt for today. We are aborting our initial launch attempt today, working an issue currently. We've directed PLT to continue and perform a recycle launch path as required.
NASA 846 copies all.
And PLTLC on Victor, I'll wait, even if you're north of beam of the waypoint or south of P-launch, I'll wait for your mark call as you go beam of that waypoint.
LCPLC, copy.
In summary, the launch attempt, at least this time around, has been aborted due to a hydraulic problem which they're troubleshooting. So we are assessing whether or not we will be able to make a second attempt, go around for an additional attempt today, which in the window we have may be possible. So we're standing by for official word on whether or not they're able to resolve the hydraulic problem, and also getting a weather forecast to assess that situation, and then determine whether or not we'll make a go for our second deployment opportunity.
I copy that. We'll check 216 complete.
Pegasus is back on an external tower.
Payload LPO looking for status on step 2, 18 Alpha. Actually, payload LPO, that would be not required. 218 Alpha is not required. And payload LPO looking for status on 218 Bravo. You go to turn on DMAU power.
218 Bravo and work now. And LC payload LPO, DMAU.
And payload LPO, I copy DMAU power on. Check 218 Bravo. And FSL verify DMAU status and readiness to enable battery charging.
LC, FSL, DMAU power on, ready for battery charging.
I copy that, FSL. Check 218 Charlie, and be advised you're coming in very faint. Payload LPO, your go for step 218 Delta. Enable Cygnus battery charging. LPO, LC, Victor 1.
LC, LPO, go ahead.
I'd like to put the following troubleshooting step in work. We need someone to go down in the galley and remove and reset the cannon plug. How copy?
And LC, LPO, we've already done that.
Okay, copy that.
LC, RCO, MEFCO, this is the Rock on Countdown Net.
LC on countdown.
RCO, MEFCO.
LC, I was just getting some information on the abort.
That was just provided on VDL. We've aborted due to a hydraulic system issue right now. We're working anomaly steps on that.
LCPLT, passing P-launch on my mark. 3, 2,
and
1.
Do you have any plan on a recycle?
LC payload LPO, Cygnus battery charging enabled.
Yeah, I copy that, payload LPO. We'll go ahead and check step 218 Delta. And the PLT, I copied the waypoint P-launch at approximately 13:36:20.
Over. LC on countdown. Do you have any?
RCO. At this time, we are directing PLT to perform the recycle launch track, and we will go ahead and get a retargeted T0 for you in just a minute.
RCO, copy.
Copy, sir. MEFCO, how copy?
140 Charlie, Cape Control.
Cape Control, November 1400 Charlie.
Have you verified Jack's Navy is your alternate?
Patrick Air Force Base is our first.
Roger that, understand. I just want to check on Jacksonville, whether it's the International or the Navy. We want to get a weather report.
Yeah, our preference would be Patrick.
they're broken to 200 right now.
Copy.
And RCO LC on countdown.
And LC, LPO.
RCO.
Go ahead, LPO.
Just to give you a quick status, we have cycled all the circuit breakers several times. We've beat on the pump a couple times. We have disconnected, reconnected the cannon plug a couple times. We can hear the relay click, but the pump is not coming on.
Okay, copy that. We're going to put flight systems on Victor 1 directly with you.
LPO copies.
RCO LC countdown.
RCO.
Yeah, be advised that our
LPO.
retargeted T0 will be at 140550 Zulu.
I have you loud and clear.
Okay, have a look at the circuit breaker on
RCO
the
copy.
LPO.
Retarget T0 at 1405:50 Zulu.
That's a good copy there, RCO.
Stand by. And could you repeat what type of circuit breaker?
Yeah, have a look.
And that would mean that should we continue for our next launch attempt today, the T0 would be at 9:05 Eastern Time.
And negative flight systems, they're just regular circuit breakers with the amp reach on them.
Okay, so it's still possible that we've got a relay, so we'll just have to take a look and see if we can find where that one is.
And also LC flight systems, we advised we did run the pump on the ground per the checklist, and everything worked at that point.
Yeah, thanks. I was wondering about that. Thanks for that confirmation.
FSL LC on countdown.
LC, FSL on countdown.
FSL LC countdown.
LC, this is FSL on countdown.
Yeah, I just want to confirm on 218 Echo that you've got confirmation signals on external power and nominal.
Confirmation on external power. We're seeing
And
some
LC,
lower
LPO.
currents than expected. Please stand by.
And we'll stand by there. Go ahead, LPO.
At this time, I'd like to go ahead and turn off cooling for a while just to save the nitrogen.
Yep, copy that. You're go for that. And LPO, just to confirm, 219 is not required.
.219 is not required.
And 221 is also
This
not
is
required.
Pegasus Launch Control. They are attempting troubleshooting of the hydraulic issue that they have experienced that's causing us to go for the second launch opportunity at 9:05.
LC, PLT, passing recycle on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
LPO, PEG on Mission Freak.
Tag LPO, go ahead.
Yeah, the only further troubleshooting request we had here was, have you already tried just energizing the pump multiple times in a row to try to free the motor?
Affirm, that's been done many, many times.
Okay, we copy that, LPO. Thank you. And LPO
And,
flight systems,
FSL, LC
just
on
confirm
countdown.
you've done that while giving a
Go
technical
FSL?
tap on it at the same time.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
did you give me
LC?
confirmation on 218 Echo that power was nominal?
Negative. We're not pulling any current on the batteries. The voltages are good. We do not have an anomaly this time. We're evaluating the power model to make sure there's no issues.
All right, I copy that. And payload LPO, this is LC on Victor 1.
LC, LPO, go ahead.
Payload LPO.
He is part of the team down there working on the pump.
And LPO, can you confirm 218 Delta was put in work and completed?
And 218 Delta, Cygnus battery charging has been enabled. All graphs show SAS on.
Okay, I copy that, LPO.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 23 minutes, 30 seconds and counting, targeting a new T0 of 9:05. The launch team continuing to troubleshoot a problem with a hydraulic pump that is currently red. And we're looking now at the weather for return to Cape Canaveral or Patrick Air Force Base or Jacksonville Naval Station, looking at all the options in case they decide to come home and can't make the second attempt today.
Launch Team LC on Countdown Net with the status. Currently, the engineering team is attempting to troubleshoot an issue with the hydraulic system. This is the hydraulic system that controls the release mechanism for Pegasus from the L1011. We've put into work the recycle checklist, or excuse me, the abort checklist to get everything safe. So all systems are in work right now, getting everything safe. And at the same time, L1011 is flying back due west right now, and we'll be resyncing Pegasus internal power checklist when we get to waypoint PINS.
LC, FSL on Countdown.
Go ahead, FSL.
We are green on power.
Okay, I copy that. FSL, we'll go ahead and check 218 out to Echo complete.
And at this time, the L1011 is still in the racetrack pattern, now heading back toward the west for a possible return to the what's called the P-launch point, which is the drop point. But they're continuing to troubleshoot, as we heard, the hydraulic pump issue associated with the release mechanism.
Team LC on Countdown Net at this, and Launch Team LC on Countdown.
Charlie, Cape Control.
Stand by.
Go ahead.
Patrick just went VFR, 3 miles, scattered 200 feet.
Okay, Launch Team LC on Countdown Net. We have a team that's been off working troubleshooting on the hydraulic system. The recommendation from the engineering team is to continue to proceed with our recycle, including going ahead and performing back through on the Pegasus internal power checklist in case that the hydraulic pump is an intermittent issue. So at this time I want to poll for concurrence to proceed with a recycle. That's a poll for concurrence to proceed with recycle. Rock?
Rock is go for recycle.
And Rock is go for recycle. Orbital?
Orbital is go for recycle.
And Orbital is go for recycle. NLM?
NLM is go for recycle.
And NLM is go for recycle. We'll go ahead and check step 228 complete. And launch team, if I can get everybody over to the recycle checklist.
Okay, and the accumulator pressures?
Accumulator pressure is...
And again, everybody should be aware at this time that we are performing a mission recycle. And Peg, if I can get a call on power status.
LC, Pegasus is on external power.
And I copy. Pegasus on external power.
Okay, and just to confirm, the primary and secondary...
And PLT, looking for an estimated...
So as we heard, our launch conductor Adam Lewis say that we'll go for another run at it. They're going to come around and try again while they continue to troubleshoot the hydraulic pump problem associated with the release mechanism. So based on that, if that issue can be resolved, it looks like we'll be targeting a launch of 9:05. Meanwhile, should they not be able to solve the problem, they'll be able to return. Looking at the options for our landing fields for weather, particularly visibility with fog, besides Cape Canaveral, Patrick Air Force Base has also reported that they are now VFR, go for a visual approach, can meet that 1 mile rule.
Looking at just above the 1,000 or between the 1,000 and the first digit, is that correct?
If you're talking about the system pressure, the primary system is it's right there at the 1,100, just shy of 1,100.
Flight system copy.
Our NASA launch manager, launch director Tim Dunn, says the strategy would be to continue down to launch minus 4 minutes, which is the terminal count, but if the pump is still red, they would not go into the terminal count at T minus 4 from there on. So we'll just stand by and monitor the situation. Right now we're at T minus 17 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control.
Launch team, LC on countdown net. Be advised, we're going to go ahead and resync back into...
LC, LPO, that's complete.
Copy that, LPO. And launch team, we're going to go ahead and resynchronize back to our Pegasus internal power checklist on page 48. This is going to be step 141. We're expecting waypoint PINS at approximately 1350. So in just under 1 minute, we'll be back to waypoint PINS. And LPO, as we are continuing through our towards waypoint B launch, we're going to continue to request that you autonomously just continue to retry the hydraulic pump.
That is a continuous process at this moment.
And I copy that.
That is our launch conductor Adam Lewis talking with Jim Stowers, our launch panel operator on board the aircraft, who has been the sort of the heart of our communications in troubleshooting this problem, giving us status and what activities are involved at altitude on the airplane to try to pin this issue down.
Passing PINS on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
And I copy waypoint PINS. We'll go ahead and check step 141 complete. Check step 141 complete. And FSL step 141 alpha. Verify is ready to transition to internal power.
LC FSL, Cygnus is ready for internal power.
Roger that.
080, thank you.
And Paleo
LC, LO on countdown.
Steps in work.
Go, LO.
Yes, sir. Be advised, we have cleared the attached anvil rule violation. We are currently green on all constraints. However, we do have some additional cells off to the southwest that will likely be affecting the flight path within 15 or 20 minutes.
Copy that.
Roger. Did we just check with the other department? They are expecting XMR to become VFR shortly.
Thank you. LC, LPO, 141 Bravo is complete. Cygnus disable.
And I copy 141 Bravo complete, LPO. And FSL LC, verify Cygnus on internal power.
LC FSL, Cygnus is on internal power.
Cap that FSL. And launch team, in lieu of being able to go ahead and arm release mechanism, we're going to press to back to FTS to internal power. So I'd like to poll for FTS to internal power at this time. Step 145. OSM?
OSM is go.
OSM is go. MIFCO?
MIFCO go.
MIFCO is go. PEG?
PEG is go.
Launch team is go for FTS internal power. LPO, LC, step 146, transfer Pegasus FTS to internal.
LC, LPO, that's in work.
LPO flight systems on Victor 1.
Standby flight systems, FTS to internal on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. FTS external enable is off.
Copy, LPO.
LC PEG, FTS on
flight
internal
systems,
power and nominal.
Copy, PEG.
So, how about the...
And launch team at this time, I want to poll for final FTS arm checks. OSM?
OSM is go.
OSM is go. MIFCO?
MIFCO go.
MIFCO is go. PEG?
PEG is go.
PEG is go.
To the pump.
And LP, repeat.
What we're finding at this moment is that there is no power to the pump.
Okay, copy. We have negative power to the pump. And LPO, are you go for final FTS arm checks?
LPO is go.
Copy. LPO is go. MIFCO, LC, step 149, send and remove arm command.
Roger, on my mark, sending arm. 3, 2, 1, mark. Arm sent. Arm removed. CSC send check channel. Check channel sent.
And LC PEG, FTS arm checks nominal.
And I copy that, PEG. MIFCO, verify FTS arm checks nominal.
Standby.
LC, LPO, also be advised I just turned cooling back on.
Copy, LPO.
LC, MIFCO, countdown net. FTS arm checks nominal.
Roger that, MIFCO. Flight crew, be advised, FTS arm checks are complete. SMD, LC, step 152 alpha, verify Cygnus internal power is nominal, ready for DMAU power off. And SMD, you're coming in too faint to understand.
Let me get back to you. Hold on 1 second, please.
Copy that.
LC NLM, countdown net.
Go ahead, NLM.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, have you had an adjustment to our targeted drop time, should we be successful?
That's a firm. Current estimate for retargeted T0 is 14:05:50.
SMD is
copy
good
that,
for power off.
14:05:50.
And that's a good copy. And SMD, I copy, you're good for power off. And LPO, LC, you go for 152 Bravo, turn off Cygnus DMAU power.
LC, LPO, that's in work.
Copy and work, and PLT, you go to power off anti-collision lights.
LC, PLT in work.
This is Pegasus Launch Control. This time we are continuing to make another run for a launch at 9:05:50. However, no joy on the hydraulic pump issue as yet associated with the release mechanism.
LC, LPO, step 152 Bravo is complete. Flight systems.
Yes, I understand that you've been able to confirm that the
LPO
relay,
152 Bravo, confirm DMAU
activating.
power off.
Have you been able to locate that relay?
LPO, LC, Victor 1.
LC, LPO, go ahead.
can you confirm DMAU power off?
DMAU power is off.
Copy that. Launch team, I can also verify our launch window continues to be go at this time. And Elwo, can I get you to reconfirm weather status? And Elwo, LC, countdown?
And Flight Systems, LPO, could you repeat your last, please?
Yeah, Flight Systems, just
Elwo, LC, countdown.
The relay clicking. Have you been able to physically locate the relay for the pump?
Hello.
Elwo, can you reconfirm weather status?
Yes, sir. Right now we are currently go on all constraints. However, we are looking at additional cumulus rule violation. We will be able to get out of that rule if you're able to take a flight path that is approximately 2 miles left and 5 miles downrange.
Okay, Elwo, what you're saying right now is you think we are no-go for weather at the drop point. Is that current? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Taking a path 2 miles to the left and 5 miles downrange will get us in a green situation.
Okay, I copy that, Elwo.
I believe that we reset the RCCV.
PIP on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
And I copy waypoint PIP.
So, Flight Systems, just to clear this up, we have a 20 amp 3-phase RCCB circuit breaker in the circuit breaker panel right on the top of the MESC. That relay, that circuit breaker was cycled multiple times. It popped out a couple of times, so I suspect that there's some reason why that RCCB is not functioning correctly.
Go ahead, LC.
Yeah, I want to know, do we really want to continue to avionics internal power?
OCE says he wants to, so we can get on to power, but then we're going to immediately stay red at the next pole.
And Flight System payload LPO, that's negative. It's a standard push-pull 20 amp 20 amp circuit breaker.
In other words, just push it until we actually have to declare the word.
On Victor 1.
LC, LPO, go ahead.
You are go for avionics to internal power.
Avionics to internal on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. External power supply is off now.
Copy, LPO.
LC Peg, avionics on internal power and nominal.
And I copy that, Peg.
3.
LPO, you verified drop waypoint entered in GPS.
LC, LPO, drop waypoint is entered.
And I copied L-6 PLT. Payload LPO, you go to disable soft ride heaters.
And LC, payload LPO, soft ride heaters off now.
And I copy that, payload LPO. ROC, report range status. ROC, LC, countdown.
Range status is proceeding.
Copy, proceeding. LPO, payload LPO, you go for step 163 and 164.
LC, LPO, disengage selected, aft camera now.
Copy that. And PLT, I will look for you to delay your L-4 call by 1 minute. How copy?
LC PLT, delay L-4 by 1 minute.
That's a good copy. And launch team, this is LC on countdown. At this time, I'm going to poll for our final launch countdown. Rock? And Rock, LC, countdown?
Rock's on countdown.
Yeah, Rock, this is poll for final launch countdown?
Poll for final launch countdown. Range is green and clear to launch.
Copy, range green, clear to launch. Peg?
Peg is red, Peg is red.
Okay. Launch team, this is LC on countdown. Abort, abort. This is LC on countdown. Abort. Everybody proceed to the abort checklist at this time.
So we have aborted our second launch attempt for today. They've had some success in isolating the problem to a circuit breaker that does not stay engaged, that's associated with a three-phase power to the release mechanism. They're now turning the plane around to vector back toward Cape Canaveral. And that's going to be it for today.
Charlie is turning now back toward KMXR. It'll be a wide turn.
Roger that. And recycle your transponder, please.
Recycling.
And they are headed back toward Cape Canaveral, toward the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station runway.
6 and November 140 Sierra Charlie. The weather is iffy. It's jumping in and out.
And LPO, LC, Victor?
LC, LPO, go ahead.
212 is not required. Status on 213?
213 is complete. 214 is complete. 216 is not required. 218 is not required. And 219 is not required.
NLC PEG, step 215. Pegasus is on external power and transient power is off.
And copy LPO, and I copy PEG.
Visibility at the runway at Cape Canaveral is a bit inconsistent, so they'll continue to assess that on the way back in.
Temperature and altitude.
LC, PLC, standby.
And payload LPO, let's see, step 218 alpha, that would be not required. And payload LPO, you go for DMAU power on.
And LC, payload LPO, DMAU power on.
Copy that.
And LC, you're also go to have them turn off nitrogen cooling to preserve nitrogen at this time.
And LPO, LC, Victor, you go for cooling off at this time.
Cooling's off.
FSL, LC on countdown, step 218, Charlie. Verify DMAU status and readiness to enable battery charging.
LC, FSL, DMAU power on, ready for battery charging.
Copy that, FSL.
November 140,
Payload LPO, your go to enable Cygnus battery charging at this time.
LC, payload LPO in work.
And I copy and work.
Is that 846 calling?
Yeah, I can't understand a thing that Control says on uniform. He's broken and unreadable. He's saying the weather's reasonably good back at Skid Strip.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the relay.
No, that wasn't a relay. I didn't hear it either. I was wondering if you did.
And Cape Control 140 Sierra Charlie, we'd like to start our descent and say the weather at KXMR, please.
Roger, they're receiving it right now. Stand by.
And Cape Control 140 Sierra Charlie, we'd like to start our descent now.
140 Charlie, that's approved. Descent as required.
And payload LPO looking for status on 218 Delta.
That's still in work.
LC, PLT, the temperature is minus 54, and did you want the true airspeed or ground speed?
We were just looking for altitude.
390.
Copy 390 at minus 54 degrees.
LC, FSL, confirm Cygnus on internal power and nominal.
LC, payload LPO.
And I copy that, payload LPO. We'll check 218 Delta. And FSL, I copied your read on 218 Echo. We'll check that step complete.
140 CR Charlie, Cape Control.
And launch team again, 219 is not required. 220 is not required. And 221 is not required. And everybody should be aware that at this time L1011 is vectoring back for an RTB. Our recommendation is, actually we will be RTBing today. We've already gone around one time. There will be no requirement to perform a poll for that recommended action. If I get everybody now on the launch team to proceed to the RTB with Pegasus checklist, this is page 65. Again, everybody please proceed to the RTB with Pegasus checklist, page 65.
And the weather at the skid strip, Cape Canaveral Force Station is reported good. A few scattered clouds, so weather will be good for return to base here at Cape Canaveral. Getting ready to go through the return to base checklist.
And at this time, I want to poll for Pegasus Safe for RTB. ROC?
Rock is go.
Rock is go and MIF go.
This is MIFCO. I'd like to switch to Omni antennas first before we head back.
Okay, you go for that.
Roger, stand by. Bronze 1 Alpha, switch to Omni antennas. LC MIFCO countdown net, command carries up 1 Alpha master transmitter on Omni antennas with check channel, and we are go for RTB.
I copy that, MIFCO. We're go for RTB. Check 235 complete. And launch team, be advised, vehicle is in work already on coordinating the ramp personnel for RTB at this time. We'll check 236. And again, everybody should be aware that in step 237, our estimated OCA landing time is 14:27. And Rock, currently we are nominal on Pegasus and nominal L1011. There are no IFVs to report.
Rock copies all. Thank you.
This is Pegasus Launch Control. Our NASA Launch Director, Tim Dunn, will be over to do a brief interview with us very shortly, next 5 minutes or so, to talk about what the situation is that's caused us to scrub forward today and what the go-forward plan may be, at least at this point. Plane is on the way down from 39,000 feet to the next reporting point at 18,000.
Control NASA 846. Yeah, not sure. We're supposed to have large ships sailing right underneath us, but we got one.
Rock, can you hear me? Yes, okay. For tomorrow. We are already have a launch date for tomorrow. It's already approved. So what do you need now? Huh?
And launch TMLC on countdown with an updated status. We're currently in our return to base checklist with Pegasus. L1011 is descending out of flight level and heading to flight level 180. Once we get that, we'll start configuring the fairing for our nitrogen system, and then when we hit flight level 165, we'll go pure nitrogen and turn our air off. We're currently nominal for a return back here to base at the Cape, and when we get the wheels down, we'll get the FTS powered down, verify that everything is safe, secure CTs, and eventually transfer control of the op back over to vehicle, who's reassembling his skid strip team at this time.
Touchdown at the runway Cape Canaveral Air Force Station is currently estimated to be 9:27 Eastern Time. And if we attempt a launch tomorrow in 24 hours, the launch time is going to be the same as was today's. This is Pegasus Launch Control. We're being joined now here in the Mission Director Center by Tim Dunn, who is our NASA Launch Director from Launch Services Program, who has been involved in the countdown today and following the troubleshooting with the issue that developed that brought about having to scrub today's launch attempt. And Tim, first of all, I wonder if you can tell us exactly what the problem is that we saw, which I gather, developed en route.
Yes, George. Thank you for having me. What happened was when we're in that last, I guess about 25 minutes prior to the initial drop, we had an issue with the hydraulic system on board the L-1011, and it's the hydraulic system not for the aircraft operation of the plane, but the hydraulic system that enables the release of Pegasus from the belly of the plane. So it's a part of the launch release system. It's the hydraulics that control that. So it was not meeting the prescribed launch release pressures, indicating a problem with the hydraulic pump. So fortunately we had a little bit of launch window to work with. So we did a lot of valiant troubleshooting in the air. As you can imagine, everyone really wanted to preserve every opportunity to have another launch attempt today. So we did circle around the racetrack once, resetting breakers on board the aircraft, doing what we could in flight to try to get that system back and functional again. And as you saw on the second one, we continued that troubleshooting right up until about the L-4 minute period, where we did not want to get into all of those critical switch actions that enable Pegasus for flight if we knew we had this remaining red condition. So that's why we didn't launch today. A little bit disappointing for the team. Obviously, you love to go in the first attempt. We did battle a lot of weather today, and we were able to fly around and over and under a lot of precipitation and bad clouds on the way out to the drop point. So fortunately, we got a very dynamic system in Pegasus. It's a beautiful launch system to allow you that type of flexibility. But however, just like any other launch vehicle system that we use, you do have hardware issues that crop up.
Something just chose this point in time not to be good to us.
And while disappointing that we don't go today, it's part of our business. We're used to it. The team behind me is putting into steps all of the actions to return us to base successfully. We're going to come back to the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station skid strip. We're going to safe all the systems on both Pegasus and the L-1011, and then we'll really be able to dig in and find out why this hydraulic system did not function as designed today. Ideally, we're going to get that resolved today, and we've already made arrangements, so we're all leaning forward as if we can go tomorrow. We have the range scheduled, and so that will not be an issue. Weather looks slightly better for tomorrow, so that looks like it won't be as troubling of an issue as it was today. But really the open item is, will we be able to resolve this hardware anomaly and then get our folks the necessary crew rest later this evening to get back on console in the early morning hours tomorrow.
All right, Tim, that pretty much sums it up, I think. When we get back, we'll hit the ground into troubleshooting and kind of see if we can find out what it was that didn't work in that hydraulic system and if that can be fixed before tomorrow morning. And meanwhile, don't burn any bridges toward a tomorrow morning launch attempt.
That's affirmative. Yeah, we were going to keep everybody leaning forward to preserve every opportunity to go tomorrow.
And the launch time is still same time as it was today.
It'll be the identical time as today.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Tim. That kind of sums up where we are. We see now on the L-1011 that the wheels are down, so the runway must be in sight. And we'll just stay tuned for further status throughout the day to see how they do on fixing the problem and getting us back in the morning for another takeoff and launch. Tim Dunn, our NASA Launch Director from Launch Services Program. This is Pegasus Launch Control. We'll stand by now and hopefully get some brief video of the landing of the airplane from the chase plane that continues to follow along. This is Pegasus Launch Control. This is Pegasus Launch Control. We're gradually losing our coverage from the aircraft and the chase plane, so we're going to go ahead and conclude our coverage for today. Right now, based on a successful 24-hour recycle, we would be coming up on NASA TV again at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is Pegasus Launch Control.